How's it going, everybody? So I want to talk about this sentence on the board. And maybe this is the example of the apolitical negative sentence, but I'll make it political by the end, don't worry. So this sentence is false. And so my question for y'all is, true or false, right? We can go through it together. So if this sentence is true, then it is the case that this sentence is false, so it's false. But if the sentence is false, then it's not the case that the sentence is false, so it's true, right? So if it's true, then it's false. If it's false, then it's true. It's a paradox. It comes from classical antiquity, from the ancient Greeks, and it seems to go against one of the fundamental kind of laws of most philosophical systems, the law of non-contradiction. And this law was formulated by Aristotle as nothing can be both true and false at the same time and in the same respect. But one interpretation of the liar's paradox is that it is both true and false at the same time and in the same respect. So my research looks at how we can make sense of phenomena like this through the lens of the 19th century German philosopher Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. And Hegel has this notion called negativity. That's kind of the central point of his philosophy. And negativity is something that I think would be familiar to all of us from some examples, right? So think back to math class. You multiply two negative numbers together, they become positive. But if you multiply two positive numbers together, they don't become negative, they stay positive, right? Or, you know, a double negative sentence like, I will not remember my presentation that I have to do today, which thankfully, at about 11, I remembered it. So anyways, what's interesting about this sentence is that it has that property of negativity to it, right? It's negating itself, and that's precisely what produces this back and forth movement. Negative things tend to turn into their opposites. This sentence, if true, becomes false, if false becomes true. So how can we use this? How can we think about it? Well, there's some complicated examples we can use of things that might be contradictory in real life. Foundations of mathematics, quantum physics, instantaneous motion, limits, boundaries. I have 30 seconds, I'm not going to go into all that. Instead, I'm going to talk about examples from ethics and politics. So in ethics, a general principle of morality is every rule we make for ourselves should be binding to everyone the same way. So there are certain things that we cannot make rules for everyone. My favorite example, because I was cut in front of once, is cutting in line, right? If we make a rule that everybody's allowed to cut in line, there's no line, everybody's just going, right? And so that's something that's self-undermining or self-negating. And then we might also think about politics from this perspective of negativity. So my example that I use is about the incentives of fossil fuel companies. If these fossil fuel companies stop producing all this carbon, their profits fall, shareholders complain, et cetera, et cetera. But then what happens when they keep producing it? The planet's destroyed, there's no humans here, profits are gonna fall, right? So, you know, it's a catch-22 as it were. So that's my research. Thank y'all so much.